Yes, hello everyone. We have just returned from Lodz in Poland where we held the RailFreight Summit 2021 and today we're looking back. This is RailFreight Live. Hello everyone, and it's Friday 10 September and in the studio with me is Arie van Dijk.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, and where are you from?
I'm from Rotterdam.
You're from Rotterdam and from ProMedia, isn't it?
Oh,
yes, that's what I meant.
Oh yes, I'm from ProMedia.
Yes, but we're in Rotterdam. Yes, we came back from Poland.
Exactly.
And we have on the line with us Hoylin Shi. Hoylin, hi.
I'm from China, also from ProMedia.
Also from ProMedia and from RailFreight CN. You're representing China in ProMedia.
Yeah.
And you've also just returned from Lodz.
Yeah.
Because we had an amazing event last week, didn't we?
Yes, for sure. We had the RailFreight Summit and it was so good to be back and meeting each other physically once again. And of course, due to the pandemic, a lot of plans got changed. And last year we were in Lodz and... last year we were in Poznan.
Yes.
And we had a lot of talk then because, okay, due to the coronavirus, can we have a summit? And we did have a summit. It was hybrid.
Any summit?
No, we had 100 participants. And then we said, okay, we're going to make it even bigger this year because it will be much bigger. And we went to Lodz last week and it was amazing. We had over 250 live participants. And it was so good, so much energy to meet each other once again for this record-breaking.
Yeah, we never expected so many people. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but first let's have a look at the after movie.
Sure.
Welcome in Lodz to the RailFreight Summit. And it was really an amazing event, as you can see. Not only because we had 250 people, but the whole atmosphere. It was so
really vibrant,
big, and yes, and the energy from the audience. That was what I liked the most, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And because, of course, the RailFreight community as a whole is growing tremendously, and our amount of readers, and it really shows that people coming together. And what I really like is that people said, oh, at one hand, you're the first because now finally we can go out again. It's just now that things are getting loosened up. But also that everyone you talk about is in the rail freight business, you know. So you're talking to terminal owners, talking to logistic forwarders, rail freight operators. It's really such a clear community. Yeah, so everyone you talk about is good conversation.
Yeah, but there were also people from trucking. That was really surprising to me. There were some people from
Stealing cargo, are they?
Well, they were saying that they were looking at rail, but not yet into rail, and they just wanted to know more about rail. So
even better, right?
Yeah. So we had a lot of new people as well who were just interested in the industry. That's something that we didn't have before.
No, and like you always say, it's like rail is always part of an intermodal supply chain, you know. And I think the signs that people from trucking or people from air freight are interested in it, it really shows that we're making waves, and more and more people are getting open for rail, which always was a little bit dusty and perhaps complicated. It's getting more transparent, rail is on the rise, and we will rise with them.
Very nicely said. And why did we go to Lodz?
We went to Lodz, okay, this is the 4th RailFreight Summit, and Poland is a new country for us, and at first it was really, trying to set up camp, we went to Wrocław, and then we went to Gdansk, which is of course a big port, then to Poznan, where a lot of logistical parties were active, and then we said, okay, now we need to go to Warsaw, but then we came in conversation with a lot of people, and they said, well, in Lodz there's so much logistical activity, and then we came in contact with the city office and the deputy mayor. We spoke extensively with him, and they really showed us that rail is such an important modality for them, and they really want to invest so much in it. So they backed us up, they backed the event up, and we met a lot of local logistical service providers, and quite interesting.
And the interesting thing was that there was a speaker from Lodz, because we learned that we have to
Lodz. Would you go to Lodz?
You go to Lodz. That was
sure,
what we learned from the CEO of the airport, and she was there to talk about these investments in the airport, because this airport is a cargo airport, and they want to combine air and rail. And we have cut out a piece of the conversation we had there with the CEO of the airport, Anna Madera, and the deputy mayor, that was Adam Pustelnik. And we had a gentleman from Contargo and Hatrans, and they were saying the following. Yes, so do you think it will work for air freight and rail freight to work together rather than compete when it comes to the airport?
I don't think that air freight and rail freight are competing. They are adding certain services to an industry. And if you want to be a complete logistics hub with warehousing, with forwarding companies, you need road freight, you need air freight, and you need rail freight, because you have certain needs for certain cargo. We are used within our company to combine, for example, rail freight and barge. So we are operating a train from Basel to other northern terminals and the Lower Rhine area, and then we combine barge services to Antwerp and Rotterdam. And in Germany, 10 years ago, there was a project of German railways to combine the airports of Leipzig and Frankfurt with a cargo train to run every night for DHL and some other forwarders and services. So there might be some business cases where it's useful to combine air freight and rail freight, but in general, I think they are both serving the same industry, and there are additional products, and you need the full portfolio on site.
Yeah, so Contargo and Hatrans are some of those companies that are investing in Lodz, and a lot of it is to be expected from it. Now, we also had an extensive session about the Silk Road, and Hoylin, what did you think of that session?
And I was really impressed by that session because I gained a lot of new insights I had never known. I cannot find it on the internet. For example, in the Polish narrative on New Silk Road, we had a very good panel discussion with 4 experts, and they explained the congestions at Malashwich, which is a big concern for the whole industry. And they explained the reason why and what is going on there exactly. And I was really, that was really interesting. Maybe we can have a look at what they have said.
All right. Talking about investment, what do you think? Should there be more coordination on a national or regional level in terms of investment?
Well, you say coordination, and this already may sound probably centralistic to some of the audience. But before answering the question, can I just come back for a moment to the issue that was raised? Because you asked my colleagues about alternatives, and there is a wide discussion going on here whether these alternatives are viable. And everybody say, well, take a look at figures, right? 90% of the volume is going through Mołaszewicze. We are talking about, you know, drops in a bucket. I mean by in the northern corridor or the southern corridor. And I'm afraid a bit that this sort of, well, complacency may turn out surprisingly bad to this industry. I mean, all the alternatives, especially, at least to my mind, the southern corridor with Hungary, with what's going on between Budapest and Belgrade, with the port of Piraeus, with Cusco, etc., this all calls for action, right? It's a call for action because we may, you know, omit a chance that is right here behind us. And coming back to your question, well, coordination of investment is something we do not like because it already sounds a bit, as I said, centralistic, and somebody says, well, I want to invest. Why someone, for example, from public authorities should tell me what to do and what not to do. But let me share with you just a quick example, because I'm in favor of some sort of coordination. And I will share with you a quick info about what I learned with my team in Podlaskie region. I don't know if all of you know Podlaskie. Podlaskie is a region in the northeastern part of Poland, up north of Małaszewicze. And we went there in July. And what we saw there was quite surprising. There is a number of initiatives, a number of projects going on, like we counted like 4 or 5 terminal projects, for example. When then you add to the railway infrastructure development projects, coordinated on the, oh, not coordinated, but developed by public authorities. Then you have cross-border crossing programs, and all of this is happening in parallel. Well, there is hardly any coordination. There is more of a competition between those projects for EU funds, for example. And of course, there is nothing bad in competition, right? There's nothing bad in competition. But as a result, what we get? As a result, we get significant delays to all of these projects, lack of any timeline coordination. So to be a bit simplistic, you can get rail terminals without railway, or railway without a rail terminal by it. And the assets that we have in terms of EU funds, for example, they are not used in the most optimum way. And this is just a regional level. And for me, it's a story calling for a sort of coordination. And then on top of it, and I'll be short, on top of it, you have the national level. You have the country-wide rail infrastructure development program. You have the issue of Małaszewicze. You have the Port of Gdańsk development. You have CPK, which is a big, to be honest, no longer a passenger program. It is also becoming a cargo program. And all of that needs to be somehow coordinated. And I know we fear it because we know that public authorities should be involved, and we have some bad experiences about that. But we cannot do that without public authorities because they, for example, they control some important funds and investment programs. So my response is yes. And our mission is just not to allow public authorities to do it on their own without our role to play. Thank you.
Yeah, that was quite a strong message, I think, from Poland about the new Silk Road. Now, we also had a lot of high-level speakers at this event. I think there were a lot of CEOs that were, there was actually an expert panel where a lot of CEOs came about. And one of the CEOs of one of the most important organizations, that is UTLC ERA, he couldn't make it, but he left a message for the audience about the topic which he would have liked to see discussed, and that was Alexei Grum.
And the total number of transit at 1520 should be over 1 million TEUs in 2021. So, welcome to our 1 million club, the club where dreams come true and where countries, companies and people are united with a very ambitious targets in terms of our Eurasian railway network. Thank you for this good result, but as we all know, we also receive new barriers that we should overcome also together. And I have to apply again to our UTLC ERA figures. In August, we did not properly served over 100 trains in our services. Partly these trains were stopped in the traffic jams at the European border. Partly these trains were parked at the Chinese border. So, as we all understand, this is not very healthy for our Eurasian railway industry. And today it is absolutely clear that when we work on this high level of volumes and on the high level of through capacity, the problem at the one chain or at the one part of corridor caused the problem on another side of the corridor, and that might be 1,000 or even 10,000 kilometers away from this trouble point. And today, as maybe never before, our technologies and our infrastructures in Eurasia should be synchronized for further positive development of our volumes. And of course, our plans should be also very much synchronized with the current infrastructure capacity. And of course, my suggestion is to go forward and to proceed with our very open and constructive cooperation, but in the same time, let's have a quick look of what happened in July, August, when, from my point of view, we did not make everything in a proper way that the clients are expecting from the railway companies.
Yes, and we did discuss that. Ari, according to you, what was the most important topic discussed?
Well, there was a lot of talk, of course, about the transport rates and the level of availability of cargo space on trains and on shipping in general. So I think everybody's very concerned about that. Rates are going crazy. And, well, there was, of course, a big networking dinner. And we went by a number of people and we spoke about, okay, what are your expectations for the future? And I was a little bit staggered to hear from a lot of people. They say, okay, well, this is the new normal. So rates will go crazy, there won't be availability, and to be honest, it will take a lot longer to get your cargo from A to B. So I think as a rail freight industry, we really should think about ways to solve this puzzle.
Yeah, and they even said that we do not no longer need subsidies from the Chinese government because now we are here and this is it.
Yeah, that's of course a very an upside for it, and also a little bit when you're talking about sustainability, when prices go up, of course you get some
bottlenecks on the road. And I think in the coming European Silk Road Summit, we will even have more open-minded people. They're willing to combine with other modalities and just to have a brighter future of the whole supply chain. So I'm very looking forward to it.
Yeah, and do you already have something to say about the main theme?
The main theme, this time we might have a focus on Russia and also other alternative. Planning to look for some experts in China, even though they cannot come to here physically, but we will have them online. We will have a much networking between these two sides. This time we really want to bring them together to solve those problems.
Yeah, well, hopefully that works out. Hopefully Corona is not in the way. We are doing our best from our side.
For sure.
Now there's one last treat we have for you, because once we were in Poland, we took the opportunity to visit the PCC Terminal in Kutno. And this was done by Jailu Zhang and Nikos Papatolios, and they went on a trip. Let's have a look.
We are in Kutno. Terminal in Kutno is in the geographical center of Poland, meaning that it's sitting directly on the east-west main line, road line, and very close to south-north main cargo line. Well, the terminal was built in 2011, and about 5 years ago we have done a large extension of the terminal. The terminal now handles 250,000 TEUs per year, and that means 50 trains in and 50 trains out per week. Destinations I will tell you later. So we have a few hundred truck visits per day, about 100 truck deliveries to our clients, and of course because of this traffic we work 24/7 all year long, maybe except for 2 days. Well, basically Kutno is, as I said, sitting directly on this east-west main railroad in Poland. So we are naturally part of it. Apart from that, we keep sending and receiving trains to Brest in Belarus, from where the cargo is distributed to the Far East, to different countries. We operate a bit like a marine terminal. Of course, on the marine terminal you have STS cranes, ship-to-shore cranes serving vessels. We don't have vessels, we have trains, but we unload those trains with RMG cranes. We have 2 RMG cranes at this moment, and we are going to order the third one. And we unload the trains using those cranes. Sometimes we shuffle containers between different trains in the same time. Plus we have the yard, which is served with reach stackers. So again, in the long term, or rather very soon, we will order 2 RTG cranes to serve the yard. Electric RTG cranes. Yes, so basically I mentioned 50 trains in and 50 trains out per week. The destinations that we have, apart from this eastern train, is Western Europe. We've been running since like 10 years or even more daily connections with